So from here to here, we have 12 semitones, as it turns out. Remember those cartoons? Maybe the cat going up the stairs or the ball rolling downhill or something like that. It's usually accessing the line of semitones or half steps. In this case, I'm going up what is called the chromatic scale. Though in and of itself, it's not really a scale per se. I'm just availing myself of every single note along the way, as opposed to saying where I'm sticking to the white notes, right? But it's this particular arrangement of 2.5 and 3.5 that gives us that sound that we're accustomed to, that scale, that reference point. And in fact, it's this that gives us the reason we have sharps and flats. The sharps and flats came about as a necessity in order to recreate this. Watch. For example, if I take my C arrangement, my scale from C, and say, well, I want to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it from F. I'm going to go from F to F, right? And I'm going to do it in a major scale. So I'm going to recreate my pattern. 1 whole tone, 2 whole tones. Then I'm supposed to go up a semitone, which is here. Not here, but here, because it's 1, 1.5. 1, 2.5. And then from here, I need a whole tone. So that means I'm going to have to go here. I have to skip this one because from here to here is only a semitone. So I have to go from here to here, which will give me a whole tone, another whole tone, another whole tone, and then a semitone. And then I get the major scale. So guess what? The key of F has a black note. And that's called a flat in this case because we've gone from C to F. We went down. So does that mean that flats go down and sharps go the other direction? Mm-hmm. They do. From C to F, we're going to do one black note to recreate the semitone and whole tone arrangement, right? Which has to be flat in order to create that sound that we like, that we know, that we refer to. And guess what? The fourth is always the sound of the wedding march. Here's the fourth from over here. So it turns out the fourth, at least in Western culture, is probably one of the most famous intervals there is, if not the most famous one, followed closely by the fifth. Fourth, a fifth, fourth. The funny thing is, Mendelssohn never imagined in his wildest dreams that his phrasing, that opening sequence, actually, which isn't even the opening sequence, it has a horn fanfare before it, but that would be co-opted by ladies who would be overdressed and overcoiffed many times, walking down the aisle with their fathers to get married, of all things. Mozart wrote this as part of his Midnight Summer Dream, and it was Goethe, for the record, it was Goethe who introduced Mendelssohn to Shakespeare. And anyway, that's another story. Here we go. So now in F we have, if we want the wedding march here, we have to go there. If we say we're going to do it in G, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I try to do the same arrangement in G of 1, 2.5, 1, 2, 3.5, then in G, the scale of G has 1 sharp. If I decided I want to do it off of D, then I'd have to do 1, 2.5, 1, 2, 3.5. So D has 2 sharps, and then A would have 3 sharps, and E would have 4 sharps. And guess what? We're going up from C to G, we went up a fifth. From G to D, we went up a fifth. From D to A, we went up a fifth. From A to E, we went up a fifth. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And E to B, that's another fifth right there. So we've gone up in fifths. The opposite is true when we went down from C to F. We went down a fifth, but in the other direction. The next stop would be B flat, which would give us 2 flats. And the next stop after that would be E flat. And so forth down in fifths. In fifths. And this is where we get the thing. Unfortunately, when teachers often try to explain the circle of fifths or relay it as a concept to be understood to new music students, they just say, well, there's a thing called the circle of fifths. We're going to lay it out for you, and you're supposed to go home and memorize this. And let me show you a few of the diagrams that they use to try and convey this information. Here we go. They use, for example, things like this, the circle of fifths, right? Or, here goes another one. There's another favorite one, the circle of fifths. And you're supposed to understand somehow the why of all this just by looking and memorizing. Here's one made for ukuleles, the circle of fifths. Oh, okay, right. And look, the helpful thing is that they give you the key signature there. We'll get into what a key signature is later. And some of these circle of fifths can even get downright medieval. I don't know what that is, but it's supposed to be the circle of fifths. And there you have it. And unfortunately, nobody stops to say, wait a minute, the reason there is such a thing as a circle of fifths is because it all started with this arrangement of notes. And in order to preserve that arrangement of notes in other parts of the keyboard, we had to modify the sequence to give us the same arrangement, thereby utilizing 1 black note, 2 black notes, 3 black notes in succession as we move through what became the other keys. And that is what is really accountable for the circle of fifths, because as we go down